Chicago World Fair of 1893. And all this was built on just under 700 acres. All these buildings, which are huge and beautiful, things we cannot build today. And we were on horse and buggy back then. How we did this, I have no idea. And then after the World Fair, shortly after, it somehow, I believe, burnt down. And they had them in St. Louis and Philadelphia and all these world fairs with all these extravagant buildings, which we have no idea how they were built. And they were all destroyed in every single town, which is weird. Let's look at more. Now look at this architecture. We were riding horse and buggy. We cannot build this stuff today. I mean, you see the crap we build nowadays. Big square buildings. Square high rises. Look at the detail in that work. Let's look at some more. Check that out. This is 1893. And there was electricity in all of this as well. This thing was lit up like a Christmas tree. Here goes our little god, whatever one they want to worship. It's like I don't know which one that is. I'm not too good with my gods. I only know the one right above us. But look at this. Look how big this building is. All of this was built in like less than a year for this World Fair, and then it was destroyed. Is the story that they're telling you. There's a lot more to our history that they are not telling us. Let's look at some more. Look at this stuff. Literally built this to have it standing for like 6 months for it to be destroyed. That is an incredible piece of work. So this is why I don't trust our schooling, our NASA, our government. Why was something this beautiful built to stand for 6 months for a world fair and then destroyed? And all the other ones around the world were destroyed as well. That makes no sense. I don't know what happened because it's not in our history, but this is something to question. Check it out.
Let's talk about digital ID. You know, we've all had those people that when you mention it, they say, bro, everything's already digital. You do your banking online and everything. What's the big deal? And that's exactly how the system has brainwashed you to think about it. Because the truth is, it's much more than just your identification that's going down digitally. It means that they're going to get rid of the entire monetary system as we know it and replace it with digital currency, meaning 100% control. So when they start pushing the climate change bullshit, and you go to the butcher and would like to buy a little too much steak to fill your freezer, I'm just going to tell you that red meat increases your carbon footprint too much and you're not allowed to do that. Next thing you know, poof, you can't access your funds. Maybe you want to put gas in your car twice in a week. Nope, not going to allow you to do that shit either. So this is the entire problem that we've been trying to explain to you about digital ID. Because we all know that it is just the start to something really fucking sinister. This will be the birth of full society control worldwide. Immediately after that comes your social credit score. Then what are you going to do? All you have to do is have an opinion and they just shut everything off. Just like that, you no longer exist. You can't feed you, nor your kids, or your family, till you smarten up. And believe me, the terms and conditions that you'll have to follow to get yourself out of the hole, promise you will fucking suck. For all those who don't see this as a big problem, give your head a shake. Wake the fuck up.
You're not going to go anywhere till I show you something. He played some videos that showed clearly hidden cameras in different locations with extremely prominent people being videotaped having sex with minors. Most prominent one that stood out to me, you know, besides Bill Clinton and all that, when I saw Hillary Clinton involved with 3 underage females, I couldn't believe it. I saw Prince Andrew. There's key clips clearly showing the face of the people and what they were doing for like 5 minutes, and then another one, and then another one. It was like a montage. All
I'll give you a little advanced warning. There's going to be a flying saucer crash on Hollywood Boulevard. What concerns me is a future false flag. You know, all I got to do is make a hologram projection appear over a city, and it would look like a scene from Independence Day where you have a huge craft hanging over the city, and people might say, please, government, take the last of my liberties so you can protect me.
This don't make sense. You're trying to tell me that they built this in 3 years, and after 6 months, they ripped it down. So for the people that don't know what this is, the Chicago's World Fair in 1893 was one of the city's most famous and infamous events, often called the fair that changed America. Now, why would you call something that? 27 million people went to this event to see elevators, the zipper, Cracker Jacks, the Ferris wheel, the first voice recording. The first voice recording? What? They even had a giant golden statue. Some people say it was gold plated, some people say it was solid gold, and some people say it was just fake. So the mainstream narrative says they built all of this just to host a fair, a bit like Disneyland. That don't look like the Disneyland to me. They're saying that it wasn't solid brick. It was only like plastering. That don't look like plastering to me. That looks like stone. 690 acres of land. They said it would take 2 weeks just to walk around and look at every exhibit. 2 weeks. They nicknamed this the White City because of how bright the electric lights shined at night. Don't these buildings look familiar? You see these buildings all over the world. This is the construction work of the Tatarian Empire, and that is the real reason why they ripped these buildings down.
I'm gonna make this video for the people that don't know who this is, and especially our women that decide to worship the wrong people. I know y'all heard the story about how the way she shapeshifted in front of a lot of people, and then as you can read, her official world website posted this right here, as you see behind me. This is what it says up close, as y'all see right here in the bold statement. It says, earlier this week, the Queen was seen by thousands of people and informed they are not acquainted with. We seek to assure the public that the Queen is still a queen and remains a respected and loved figure that they always have known. While she may not be human, she is a devoted leader and monarch, and she believes the subjects will grow to accept her and her family for what they are. Just think about that, what I've been telling y'all this whole time. And of course you got Putin right here, and we already see what's happening right now with Putin. I mean, just think about this. Read this. Look how the way she literally touched this man. Like, he don't even want to be nowhere near around her. If you ever look at any of those meetings that you see all the world leaders in, he's always on the other side of the room. Like, this is real. This is serious. And Putin is obviously, he may not be in this group with these people. Hence this war and everything going on. This is why. But take time and read this. So yeah, I'm about to add a video to this explaining how much power she really has, and it's going to blow y'all mind. But it shouldn't surprise y'all if y'all accept who she really is.
The media has misled the public into believing that Queen Elizabeth II is a symbolic ceremonial figurehead with little or no real power, that she is a cold but harmless old relic who passes her time sipping tea at the palace. Nothing could be further from the truth. As British monarch, Queen Elizabeth II is the wealthiest, most powerful person on earth. She embodies the crown and supreme world power. Presidents of the United States are forbidden any title of nobility and are subservient to the monarch. The U.S. President is Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces based at Camp David, which is known to insiders as Camp King David. Prime Ministers in Commonwealth nations like Canada and Australia are also subservient representatives of the British King or Queen. They are her spokesmen. The Governor-Generals of the Queen's Commonwealth nations represent and exercise the Queen's power on her behalf. What the general public doesn't realize is that their leaders are only representatives of the monarch and do not possess the power. They exercise the power. They do not reign, they rule.
Here's what to do if you ever observe a nuclear explosion. After the bomb has been detonated, it will form what is known as a mushroom cloud. And the size of this mushroom cloud is what you will use to determine whether or not you are safe where you're standing. This is called the rule of thumb for nuclear explosions. Let's say you observe the explosion out of your window. What you're supposed to do is take your thumb and hold it over the mushroom cloud. If your thumb completely covers the mushroom cloud, then you are safe. But if not, run for your life.
Right where, Tor?
Right there.
Is that it, Tor? Right?
Yeah, guys, don't stand between tracks. Yeah, we saw.
If only they let me share this video right now. They muted the sound. Have y'all heard?
So about 2 weeks ago, I met a man who had gone to prison for hacking. And he kind of shared with me that he has now been contracted by the Federal Reserve to consult on the rollout of the digital dollar. And what they decided to do was allocate $500 million in digital currency and give $100 a month to people who live in the projects for the next 2 years. And the thought process behind this is if Black people can learn how to use the digital dollar, then they'll roll it out to the rest of the world. Because they know that in order for something to reach mass adoption, the Black community has to adopt it.
What in the mark of the beast is this shit? What in the mark of the beast is this shit? What in the mark of the beast is this shit? What in the mark of the beast is this shit?
You guys see that shadow? Where are the clouds? Where are the clouds?
Important video. The guy behind the camera, Dylan, my son, he said, Dad, you have to check these earphones that everybody's wearing, right? The wireless earphones, everyone's wearing them, not just kids today, but adults as well. And here's one of my son's good friends who I saw these in your ears all the time. Yeah. All right, now, before this test that we're going to do, I'm sure, Vlad, you've heard us say, those things are bad for you. My kids probably told you that, but you're still wearing them. Yeah. Okay, but after seeing what we're going to show them, changed your mind, right? Yeah. All right, hopefully it changes yours as well. Look, EMF is not something new. Everyone's talking about electromagnetic frequencies. One thing we know about electromagnetic frequency is distance is the killer. Meaning, I can put a phone here, and yes, it's putting out electromagnetic frequency, but it's when it comes here is when we know we get cellular damage, and the damage is, bad for the brain, and it causes problems. Many people are using these thinking, okay, my phone is further away, but obviously it's giving a signal from your phone that's being picked up by the wireless headset, and that in fact is the problem with the EMF. But again, we have to show it to you. So let's just get right at it. Okay, so I'm looking at these readings right now, and Dylan, let's just show point. Okay, so hold on. His phone came near me. We can't do that because literally it picked up his phone. I was okay, back here now. He went away. I'm 0.03. You can't see that? 0.02, which is a very safe level. As Dylan came up to me, actually, it went to 0.1, 0.3. Okay, so you can see it rose up. 0.3. Now, cellular damage starts at 0.5. That's not my opinion. That's the science. So let's do the study, Vlad. Let's connect your music to that. Connected, we're playing. Okay, you're playing. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this in to here. 1.9, 1.7, 2.3, 2.9, 3.4, 3.8, 4.6, 4. You see what's happening here. 0.5 is the damage point of DNA in cells, and yet he's far beyond that point. And again, I'm picking that up in between his phone, and especially right here, it's at the highest, right at the, look at that, 15, 17, 20, it's surging even higher right now. I mean, that's amazing numbers right there as far as when you understand what that's doing to his cells and his brain. Okay, now let's for fun, let's compare wire. Let's do the old-fashioned stuff. Okay, let's take a measure of this now. Same song, 0.03, 0.0, Dylan came close with his phone, 0.1, 0.2, still under 0.5, still hearing the same music. Yeah. Okay.
So you guys ever wonder why we can't go to Antarctica? This is why.
So, which is initiated by the Draco reptilians as far back as 6,000 years ago.
The reptilians really came into control and started to be able to manipulate what was going on the face of the planet about 6,000 to 7,000 years ago. It is true that they have different masking technologies to be able to be in a room and look like a human, but usually they're in underground bases in various places on the globe, as well as in a huge area in Antarctica. The southeast region has a large number of underground caverns that are kept extremely warm, too warm for humans, by geothermal heat. It's a perfect place for all of these.
Bro, what is in the sky? Look at this shit.
I can tell you about that now. Those are Anunnaki spaceships. Y'all think those are just anomalies in the sky. Oh, those lights look pretty. Nah, that's Anunnaki spacecrafts. They're made out of light. Most people were waiting on the Anunnaki to be here in December. They already here, y'all. They've been on the planet cooling. Some of them just chilling, waiting on the time. It's like I guess an energetic time when they come. They could show up anytime, to be honest with you. When people giving you dates, even me, I'm like, they could show up right now and be like, what's up? Whenever you see those aren't just rainbows. Rainbows are portals, energetic pathways. Like I told you, imagine a door, boom. They already here. They here to stop all that foolery these people been doing for so long. They finna get this business. I'm not gonna put all my faith in one being, but I'ma just say, shit finna change. Shit finna change.
Bro, what is in the sky? Look at this shit. Yo, what the fuck is this in the sky? You got a big storm? That shit trippy.
When white people came to Africa, they came showing themselves as superior to the black people, digging out things that black people taught them. You know, what we don't have in our history books is that the civilization we have in Europe today was brought to us by black people. Even black people don't know that. Even many black people don't know that. They don't know that the Moors, they were West Africans and North Africans and Central Africans that came to Europe and ruled Spain. They brought civilization to us. They showed us how to use soap, how to be clean, how to behave like a decent human being, you know? All these things we didn't know that before the Moors brought civilization to Spain. Did you know that the Moors ruled in Spain for 700 years? Where is that in our history books? It's nowhere to be found. Because why? If you are giving black people that power of having once ruled over white people, wouldn't black people start like...
According to Russia, there's much more to Antarctica than the public is being told. They claim that top governments worldwide know exactly what's going on there, but they haven't disclosed it until now. Possibly an entire continent below Antarctica's ice. Could this be Atlantis? Some theorists even believe that an ancient civilization that once fell actually lives and inhabits the continent below the ice. This is what essentially attracted the larger world governments to Antarctica, to see if they couldn't find this alleged continent. But why would this important discovery be kept top secret from the public? Well, many believe it's because of a discovery that Russia supposedly made back in the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, a Russian scientific expedition made an amazing discovery. After drilling 2,000 meters into the ice shelf, they'd break into a cavern and discover freshwater lakes. And much to their surprise, these lakes were not frozen. It was essentially fresh water that had been isolated down there for what they believed to be 10 million years. So after making the discovery of the freshwater lakes, the scientists decided that they wanted to set up an expedition to drill down to the largest of the lakes, Lake Vostok. It's said that this borehole took over 10 years to dig, and now it's fitted with an elevator that you can take all the way down. This elevator would take 8 scientists down to the lakes to verify their existence. But little did these scientists know, they were about to embark on an expedition that could cost them their lives. Shortly after they began exploring the lake, they would have a run-in with an organism known as Organism 46B. Organism 46B was very similar to that of an octopus, except it was much more lethal. It said it had a venom that could paralyze its prey for up to 150 feet. Then it would rip them apart at its leisure. And 46B did just this to one of their colleagues while they were diving in the lake. They said that though it is just like an octopus, it is actually much larger and has 14 legs. It's believed that 46B has some traits of the mimic octopus from the Indo-Pacific, except 46B could actually take its shapeshifting to another level. One crew member found this out the hard way. He witnessed as what he believed another diver was approaching him while in the water. As a result, he really didn't pay much attention to it until it was too late. Organism 46B had actually shapeshifted itself to mimic the look of a fellow diver. He would paralyze the crew member and tear him apart. After this second death of one of their colleagues, they knew that they had to capture the creature in order to study it. Naturally, Russia wanted to study it so they could possibly use it for warfare in the future. So they'd use the female crew member who was said to have extra fantastical traits. She was highly skilled at camouflaging herself and avoiding being killed. To me, this almost sounds like a Black Widow type woman from Avengers. So they'd place a massive net in the water and use her as bait. Sure enough, the creature would show up for its feast. As it approached, she'd quickly evade the beast, and they'd capture it in a massive net. They would then get the beast on the elevator and they'd send it to the top, where scientists would put it in a tank. They'd then study it for years on end, and it's alleged that they still even have 46B contained. This is allegedly how they've come up with all the information they have on it. Russia also wanted to study the venom it used to paralyze its prey from over 150 feet. This is just one of the possible stories that have leaked from Antarctica. It makes you wonder what else could be down there. But I gotta know, do y'all believe in this story? Do you believe in 46B? Let me know in the comments. As always, my content is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not portraying it as absolute fact. I tell the stories and let you guys decide. I know I've told this story before, but this is kind of a different angle on it. I thought it was interesting. And it was a quick story I could do, as I've been super busy trying to get my apartment around. And don't worry, y'all. Navigator Across the Ice Walls is coming up real soon, I promise. I like to let the last one marinate for a week or so before I go on to the next one. Maybe this next one I'll make a little longer for you guys. Either way, I hope y'all enjoyed this quick video. Keep watching, stay tuned, stay in the love, stay in the light, be kind to others. I am out.
The U.S. government plans to use melanin for military application, armor, weapons, and energy storage. In a world where the importance of melanin and its connection to black people are swept under the rug or denied, the United States government is preparing to use melanin for military applications and devices. And for the ones that didn't know, they also sell melanin for $350. Some say it's more, but that's per gram. Personally, it don't take rocket science to know that nothing good would be coming out of this. They even made a movie about what they're doing to carbonated beings. I'm pretty sure we all seen the movie Get Out, and how this guy's actually a white man in a carbon man's body. They even show the process of how they transfer their consciousness. This is sunscreen under a UV light. Tell me, what are they trying to mimic? It's quite obvious that these people envy us for our skin color and biological differences. In no way am I trying to be racist, but stuff like this is literally a slap in the face.
The pneumatic air tunnels of the old world. These tunnels have been discovered in many major cities, including Chicago, New York, and London. And some will say that these are just concepts, built in a small scale, and then conveniently buried over and forgotten about. Till years later, when amateurs started discovering these tunnels, buried and covered up among meters of dirt. And it was clear that this was not just some small concept. And I believe many of these tunnels still run to this day. Research the mud flood and fall of Tartaria. Question everything, friends.
Did you know that Orlando Brown is exposing the elites? In an interview, Orlando Brown said the elites are immortal. He said that everyone in the industry throughout time are all the same people. And when you sell your soul to the industry, they give you the option to live forever. And they found a way through esoteric science to take the soul from your body and put it in another. And he says if you open your eyes and walk down Hollywood, you can see it. The people that are on the Hollywood stars are the same people in the Egyptian theater. And those are the same people the city was named after. You know, the city of fallen angels. And every star or actor that has died has just been put into another person to continue on what they'd already started in a fresh body. So the same people have been influencing you for decades. And everyone in the industry is a sellout. What do you think?
When does I told you so come into play here? When does I told you so? You have called conservatives, you have called Republicans, you have called independents who tried to tell y'all that they were coming for y'all. We tried to tell you that they didn't like y'all either. We tried to tell you that they were using you. BLM was using you. This mayor is using you. The president is using you. They're using your pain and trauma to get their agenda done. And here you go. DC mayor says no virtual learning, giving unvaccinated black teens zero alternatives or options. I could have swore that this woman said Black Lives Matter. Sounds like that's a lie to me. But again, when does I told you so come into play? Because we tried to tell you, but you didn't want to listen. But now you done made your bed, and now it's time to lie in it. You get no sympathy from me because we tried to warn you.
Operation Sunshine. That's back when they didn't know what the human flesh would react to atomic bombs. So they had to take babies and other dead bodies. And they didn't tell the public either, but a lot of them were babies. And they put them all lined up close to the edge of where they were going to drop an atomic bomb. And then they would go back after the bomb has exploded to see how bad it melted the flesh. And it's called Project Sunshine. People should check it out. It's pretty crazy. They finally told people what happened. But yeah, a lot of the people that buried their babies and loved ones, the government just came and took all their bodies and used them for tests.
Yo, I got a treat for y'all today. Let's get it. Cat Williams himself is one of the most, if not the most, woke person in the industry. I've just recently seen videos of Cat Williams speaking in interviews. Y'all see these 2 interviews that he took place in? You'll start to see what I'm talking about. Not everyone can comprehend what he's trying to get at, but the people who know. I stand on what I say when I mean by far, he is one of the more woke people in the industry. Similar to Jim Carrey, who is also very, very woke. People see these two as a bit off or screw loose or crazy. When you're someone who looks deep into the rabbit hole, that's what they often think about you, or portray you as, but it's only because you know the truth. Take a look at the first interview.
Any idea who shot Suge?
I'm pretty sure Suge knows who shot Suge.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So when he comes out of sedation, I'm sure anybody who gets shot will tell you who shot them, right?
Yeah.
But if the police say nobody shot him, I believe nobody shot him. And if nobody shot him, that's the same nobody that shot Tupac. And if nobody shot Tupac, it's the same nobody that shot MLK. And if nobody shot him, that's the same person that shot Malcolm X too. It's a lot of nobodies out there, and nobody minds if nobody comes up missing, right? That don't bother nobody, does it? Certainly doesn't bother me.
That video alone is enough proof to justify how well aware that Cat Williams is of what's going on in the world. He knows. Now in the second interview, which is much more recent, Cat Williams explains what he thinks is happening with these rappers and them dying early. Now him and a lot of other people have been saying that they believe that the music industry and these labels have been plucking off at their artists, the life insurance policies. And when you look back at the amount of rappers, especially famous ones, that have died just at a young age out of nowhere, something that could have been completely avoided, it do start to make sense. Now let's take a look at the second video.
See, what I'm saying is, in business, nothing is coincidental, or you would be hearing who's losing money. In all of these situations, it's only the artist that's losing. Somebody makes big money. When these rappers get killed, not incidental. Somebody made $100 million and now don't have to talk to that artist or none of their crew, don't have to validate none of their contracts. Now only got to deal with the mama, only got to see her once a year, and it's over. And the money goes up and up and up. So they killed this $20 million guy, but they reaped $60 million in benefits. Wow. And they had some people from your city do it. Wow. I'm saying there's the good side and the bad side of these businesses. And
now let me know what y'all think in the comments about Cat Williams.
You guys want to jump down a hole with me? It's fucking wild and Trump is involved. The federal government was caught buying fresh flesh of aborted babies who could have survived as preemies. Last week, legal accountability group Judicial Watch released a lengthy report indicating that the U.S. government buys and traffics fresh aborted baby parts, according to the Federalist. Some may not like this source, but I'm going to show you some left-wing media covering this topic as well. These body parts, purchased by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to humanize mice and test biological drugs in scientific experiments, came from babies up to 24 weeks old gestation, just weeks from being born. It has previously been reported that abortion groups harvested aborted babies for research. However, this new report has sparked outrage amongst Americans upon the revelation that the U.S. government is the entity responsible for the tracking of the aborted babies. Recent emails uncovered by Judicial Watch between FDA employees and the California-based Advanced Bioresearch Resources prove the agency spent tens of thousands of dollars buying aborted babies for unethical scientific experiments between 2012 and 2018. In 2018, the Trump administration terminated the contract, halting government fetal tissue research due to concerns the contracts were unlawful. Here's some left-wing media talking about it. Trump administration cancels FDA fetal tissue contract. Now, I was just looking up information about how fetal tissue is in our food, and I was going to make a video on it, but I ran into this story, so figured I should share. Wild, bro. Wild.
You ever wonder why the Senate won't legalize cannabis despite the vast majority of Americans in favor of it? This is an old study, but it paints a pretty clear picture. This is a chart of how many fewer prescriptions doctors prescribed in states with medical cannabis laws. Big Pharma has a lot to lose. How long before the Senate chooses the people over their pocketbooks?
TikTok getting in now on the censorship game. The social media giant tied to communist China, as I just said, says it now is going to team up with a government organization here in the United States. The goal, to fight harmful misinformation ahead of the November midterms. In a blog post, Ben, the company's head of the U.S. safety says the app will be labeling content related to the midterms. It also plans limiting political posts that cannot be substantiated and may ban some users. So they're going to be fact checkers over at that TikTok place. A new study shows TikTok gathers and gives away more user data than any other platform.
TikTok is gigantic, and it's a gigantic problem. It's something that is run out of communist China and prioritizes the things that they would like for American eyeballs to see, eyeballs around the world to see. And I think that what we've learned in the past year really is that TikTok cannot be trusted when it comes to the way that they warp and alter the way that especially young people in America, especially young women in America, are being affected by their product. I think that this is something that requires more government attention. I do think that TikTok represents a real danger to us here in America of allowing this kind of propaganda in. We never saw anything like this during the Cold War in the Soviet Union. They never had the ability to reach into your house and affect the way that your teenagers are thinking about the world to the degree that TikTok is. And now the fact is they're openly saying they're going to be on the misinformation, disinformation hunt. Look, Harris, I think we all know what happens when companies start to behave in this way. They tend to target only one side of the conversation, and they are completely happy to let all sorts of other misinformation, disinformation, and even threats continue to be hosted on their platforms.
Now, I know Fox News did not just completely out themselves. We know what happens when Fox News, okay, you're a fucking company, Fox News, only wants to stay on one side of the story. Okay, cool. Same thing you always fucking do. You know why you're mad? Because people like me are actually speaking out. And I am so dangerous because I'm spreading misinformation. Oh, why? Because I'm not asleep like the rest of you who want to just sit here and believe what the government tells us, because they say, oh my God, we need more government help on TikTok. Let me tell you something. TikTok may be owned by China, but the American version, the shit that we see, is ran by ByteDance, which is based out of Texas. I have two friends who just did an interview with Forbes magazine talking about the dangers of this app, the American version, for allowing underage inappropriate content and keeping the files, which is underage porn. And that has nothing to do with China. That has everything to do with America. They allow this behavior. So stop blaming China for this shit.
This is the start of the climate wars. Jackson, Mississippi has no drinkable water and will not indefinitely. Their main water reservoirs failed, so they have no water pressure to fight fires, to flush toilets, to take showers, to drink. They just don't have it, and they're being told, the citizens of Jackson, that if they do have water, running water in their house, not to even touch it, because it's the raw water from the reservoir, so it's not filtered, nothing, it's just being pushed through the pipes. While they did say they're going to start distributing water for drinking, bathing, cooking, things like that, this is the scene in front of the governor's mansion. Yeah, Tate Reeves has his very own personal water truck just tapped right into the governor's mansion. That's the future, where the rich have resources and the poor are struggling with sewage.
Are being told to expect little or no water for an undetermined amount of time. Shoppers raced to this Walmart for bottled water last night, only to find empty shelves. All Jackson public schools are switching to virtual learning indefinitely, and the lieutenant governor says, our understanding is the water and sewer system serving 250,000 citizens of the state and numerous businesses is at the brink of collapsing.
It means the city cannot produce enough water to fight fires, to reliably flush toilets.
In some parts